All right, we got the recording. We were trying to remember that. All right, let's, Jolanta Walaszek. Hello, everybody.
Tom Adamson, greetings.
All right, let me share our screen with you, ladies and gentlemen, that we could start our training session. All right, there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and we will try to keep it in 1 hour. Please make sure that your phone or your computer is muted to make sure that we don't hear any static, and because that's kind of disruption for everybody. But I would like to start with what's going on at PNA right now. September, Life Insurance Awareness Month. You probably had seen quite a bit of postings on our Facebook and also on LinkedIn, on our website, our wonderful website. Agnes is doing a really great job to keep everybody informed, and we would really appreciate if you like it, share it, you know, post your comments. We would really appreciate that. This is you know, we like to share all those stories and things that we do here at PNA, and we will really appreciate your input and sharing and all the comments.
We partner with Life Happens, which is an industry organization that educates the consumer and the agents. And it's a not-for-profit. It's also, it doesn't favor any one insurance company over another. There's a number of insurance companies who are members, and goes all the way from PNA all the way up to the New York Lifes and the Northwestern Mutuals and the very, very large insurance companies. And we all use some of the material from Life Happens, and they are promoting Life Insurance Awareness Month. In the news, it's on, you'll see advertisements about it, you'll see ads on the TV, you'll hear it on the radio, and we have joined that and are promoting Life Insurance Awareness Month along with Life Happens.
All right, let's get to our next screen. You probably are aware of, and I know Tom and myself, we sent emails about the contest that is happening till the end of September. That means 1 more week. 1 more week. If you will like to jump in and take a part of this content, please do so. All the incentives are listed on the right side, and here are the following agents that submitted applications already. Thank you. We want to recognize them, and you know, please have them. Please all have the applications coming. We will definitely look at every single one, and you know, the more the merrier.
That's true, but this is a good time of the year to write life insurance. So people are settling down after the summer vacations and taking a look at what the things that they wanted to accomplish this year that they haven't. And I think the number is 11 million people out there who are either underinsured or need insurance, have said that they need insurance. So there's a real opportunity for us to do that. We just need to be able to approach people.
Yes, and Ms. Henry Schuster, you're on the list. Congrats. Also, if Don Jones, thank you, because this actually came from you. You had some questions and you missed some webinars, and Tom had a very good point to put those webinars and recordings on the PNA sales representative website. And miss some webinars, no problem. Of course, you will have to go to our website, PNA scnp.org. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and ladies and gentlemen, the second link for PNA rep. This is totally different from your life base. Life base is where you calculate, you provide quotes to your clients. For PNA representative, this is the website that we have our forms, we have information on the plans that we offer, and also what's going on in PNA. And right on top, Victor was kind enough to input and set up this training video conference tab. When you click on it, you will have an option of different dates and different webinars that we already posted, and then you will be able to watch it and see what those were all about.
They also have audio. So if you're in your car and you can't watch it, you can just stream it to your radio from your telephone. You can download it onto your telephone and just, put it into your radio. So, and listen to it while you're driving.
Also, I would like to mention that when you click for PNA Wrap on that link, you will be prompted to input your user ID and password, and that information is provided right here. Let me know if you would like me to email that information to you. I'm more than happy to do so, but yes, you will be prompted, and then it will be great if your computer could remember the user ID and password, and then you will not have to enter that again, because it is kind of tricky if you look at it at that password. All right, and Deb, that's it from my side. And Tom, now your presentation. Hold on, let us switch the PowerPoints. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Tom.
Well, here we are. Thank you for joining us today. And this is the Yola and Tom Show, broadcasting live to you from the Polish National Alliance home office. And it is a nice day out. One of the things that we've talked about over the past number of months is an easy way to talk to people about their life insurance. And there is what we call a survivor income calculator, and it's really kind of a fun thing to be able to do. And I know when we were talking about life insurance, we could never really replace the emotional value of a spouse or a family member, but life insurance can replace lost income. That keeps the home, summer camps, college, fraternal, family security intact by using those life insurance dollars that are available. And I have a friend of mine that, and she's become a friend over the years. I hired her as an agent in 1984, and she was a really, really good agent. And she became an attorney, and she married a gentleman a few years older than she, but they lived up close to us, and we remained friends over the years. And I actually had used her as to quote her in one of my Monday morning messages, and her comment was, she was speaking to the NAFA meeting in Northern Illinois, and NAFA is the National Association of Insurance Financial Advisors, and we were both with New York Life Insurance Company at the time. And the message she was delivering was that when you die, the amount of life insurance that you have with you will be the amount of whole life insurance that you purchased. Because term insurance really is a purchase. It's a large purchase, and it's for when the kids are coming through and you need to make sure that they can go to college, that the mortgage is paid off, that your spouse will have enough income to carry on without your earning an income. And then really we've talked about that, and we have the the DIME financial need analysis for that. DIME is DIME, that's debt, income, mortgage, and education for the kids. And that's also a pretty easy conversation to have. But anyway, she had told this group that they really needed life insurance, whole life insurance, because that's that's the insurance that they were going to have when they die. And she made that point, and I quoted her, like I said, a number of weeks ago. And in the meantime, since then, her husband died, and I went to the funeral and saw her, and we've spoken and emailed back and forth a little bit. But she emailed me that all of these things that we said when we were selling insurance back then have come true. And she said it is so. She said that her husband had a fairly substantial life insurance policy. It was over $500,000. And she said that has really provided a lot of peace of mind, financial peace of mind for her, knowing that that money is there. And it's not so much that they didn't have money, because he was fairly well to do. He had real estate and he had investments. But he also had this life insurance policy, and she didn't want to sell the real estate. She didn't want to get rid of the investments because it wasn't a great time in the market. So the life insurance really provided the financial peace of mind that she needed, and the liquidity that she needed. They provided the dollars for her, so she didn't have to do other things. With the DIME, you can come up with an amount, but how to start the conversation. And really what we're talking about, does your insurance meet the current market standard? How about that question instead of, are you sure you have enough insurance? And most people will say, yeah, I got enough. I got insurance at work. I got another policy that I own. But the question, does your insurance meet the current market standard, is a whole different thing. They have pause to think about how much insurance they have. And what is the market standard? They don't even know what they're talking about. So the next question is, have you ever heard of the rule of 36? And I have to tell you, I was on a boat in Lake Michigan, and we were fishing for coho, and the coho were having nothing to do with us. So there was, all it was smoking cigars and drinking beer and conversing. And the person that invited us out on this boat trip finally said to me, well, how's the life insurance business? And I said to him, he was a broker downtown in Chicago. And I said, well, have you ever heard of the rule of 36? And he said, well, no, I haven't. What's that? And I said, well, give me a current monthly.
Okay.
And you can
Ja
see.
już to znam. Powtarzają to samo. Będę włączona, bo muszę być tak.
Okay.
Hold on just a second.
I'm getting
Because,
some feedback out there. If you can mute
Yes.
your phone. These spell them both the same way. Mute.
Yes.
No. M-O-T.
Yeah, we're good. We're good then.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, the rule of 36 is just a simple formula, and you see the first part of it here: current monthly income, current insurance, and you cross off the 4 zeros. We're going to go into this in a little bit more detail. But I asked him, I said to him, give me a current income. And he said, okay, how about $8,000 a month? I said, all right. And I said, well, okay, now the person earning $8,000, how much life insurance does that person have? And he said, well, we can do 96,000 because that's what one-time income would be, and that's what we got at work. And another 100,000 that was purchased when he got married. And he was kind of, we're just kind of bouncing numbers off of each other. We're not really talking about his own numbers, but he was throwing numbers at me. So what we do, and I pulled out a business card, and I'm writing on the back of my business card. I said, okay, here's your income at $8,000. And here's the amount of insurance at $196,000. And what we do is we cross off the last four numbers of the insurance. And we put the new number there. And I used 20 because 19.6 was closer to 20 than 19. So I used the number 20. I said, so what we do is multiply that number by 30 to calculate the monthly income at 3.6% that your family would get from that would be generated by that amount of life insurance. And I said to him, is that the income result that you want for your family, or has no one ever brought this to your attention? And he looked at me and he said, okay, so somebody earning 3 times that amount should have more than 3 times that amount of life insurance. I said, well, yeah, that's the income you want to provide for your family. And he said to me, and I tell you this because it's important for you to know, he said, I wish my insurance agent would be more aggressive with me. Those were his words exactly. And when we think we are hurting people's family, their feelings, or we're offending them, or they actually want us to help them to determine how much insurance they need, and they want us to help them get that insurance. We need to be their advisor, and we need to provide the help to get them over the fence to buy that insurance. So the question then is this what the results you want, or did nobody ever show you how this works? And like I said, he said, I wish my insurance agent would be more aggressive with me. So crossing out the last four numbers and multiplying by 20 gives us by 30 gives the approximate monthly value equal to investing the lump sum of money at 3.6%. So again, using an example, if you were to invest $100,000 at 3.6%, that would give you $3,600 or about $300 a month. So, and we're not making assumptions here. We're just being very general. Now, the other thing about it is that the calculation does not deduct from insurance proceeds your consumer debt, mortgage payoff, children's college education, or funeral expenses. Really what we need to get into is not only how much insurance you have, but we kind of need to get into what other needs are here other than the income needs. So subtract that number from the total insurance that they have, and then that's the number of insurance they need. Again, the rule of 36 using the survivor income calculator, it's an approach that you can start a conversation. And it really, when they think about it, they're surprised. They think they have a lot of insurance, but again, here we have the $8,000. Here's an example with $400,000 of life insurance. Cross off the last 4 zeros of that 400,000, you come up with 40. And then you multiply that number by 30. And this is the approximate monthly income that 400,000 will provide to your family. And that's before taxes at 3.6%, $1,200. Okay. And the point that you're trying to make is, and you're not saying it directly, you're just letting him figure this out as you're talking to him. The point you're trying to make is that he's now providing $8,000 a month with his income. And if he died, his life insurance would only provide $1,200 a month. And that's without paying off the mortgage and providing for education and covering debt and final expenses. So again, the question is, Is that your intention, or has no one ever showed this to you before? No, nobody's ever showed it to me. Well, you know, we need to go into a little more depth. Are you available next Tuesday, or is later in the week better? Okay, very, very soft approach. Your next step with a prospect would be to schedule an appointment and have both spouses should be there, because you know, and I've been on interviews where if the husband is there, he says, I got to talk to my wife about this. If the wife is there, she says, I need to talk to my husband. So if you have both spouses there, you can get a decision made. And then you can review the rule of 36 with the spouse. And when they see what type of income that insurance provides, it's a real eye opener for them. And they want to get some more information. So you can do a full needs analysis with the dime for your new client. The dime is an easy way to do it. I've used the dime, and we've gone over the last time we had a meeting, or two times ago. And then if you want to review it, it's on the website. But the dime gets into debt, income, mortgage, and education for the kids. And I've had some people, I actually sent on a pretty specific fact finder for them. They had money in different places, and I took a real live fact finder. I emailed it to them, and I said, here, go through this first and transfer the numbers that you come up with into the dime, and then you can get to an amount of insurance that you need. And they did that, and it worked out really well. So any questions about Rule of 36? To ask a question, you would have to unmute yourself and then start talking. Okay, no questions? Rule of 36, just an easy way to start a conversation. Or if somebody says, how you doing? How's the insurance business going? Just say, hey, have you heard of the Rule of 36? And then, like I said, I did it on the back of a business card. You can do it on a yellow pad. You can do it anywhere. You can do it on a napkin in a restaurant, but it's kind of cool. Okay, so we're going to talk about juvenile insurance. And, you know, when people get into it, it's sometimes an uneasy conversation. And because parents don't like to talk about their children dying, for one thing, and they don't like to talk about, you know, they say, well, I don't want to make money from my child dying. And you know, I get that. I have 5 kids. But the fact of the matter is that there's going to be expenses, and there's expenses that need to be covered fairly quickly when a child dies. But, and we've talked about this before, one of the primary benefits of having a life insurance policy for children is that they have, first of all, they have lower premiums, and those policies can be arranged so that they'll be, they can be covered regardless of their future health. And I have a personal situation, it goes back a ways, but when I was in high school, that goes back a long ways. But when I was in high school, my father purchased a life insurance policy for me from Prudential. The guy came over and talked to us, and he, as we finished up the paperwork for the $10,000 of life insurance, which was decent back then, he said, would you like to have a guaranteed issue rider? My dad says, what's that? And he said, well, at ages 25, 28, 31, 30, your son will be able to purchase more additional insurance without answering any questions about his health. And my father thought it was a pretty good idea. So we had the guaranteed issue rider put on that policy. And what happened was, I grew up, got married, started having kids, and I had 2 kids by the age of 25, and I had one of these guaranteed issue rider options come up. And what had happened in the meantime was that my heart had started skipping a beat, and it was called a Winky block, and it's just one of those things that happens. And so I actually called New York Life and I said, what do you think I should do? I'd like to get more insurance, but I've got this. I was working for New York Life at the time, right? And I called them. I said, I got this option with Prudential. I said, should I take the option with Prudential or should I apply for new insurance with New York Life? And the answer that the underwriter gave me was, you should take the option with Prudential. Okay, so I was playing basketball. I was doing all kinds of stuff with kids, and doing the pancake breakfast and singing in the choir and doing all kinds of things. And I didn't feel unhealthy, but they recommended that I take the option. And that kind of scared me a little bit, but at the same time, that thing cleared up and went away. I never heard from it again. So things happen like that. But so I have personal experience with this guaranteed issue rider. And when I was selling insurance, I used it a lot. I had a person that I sold a policy to, and we put the guaranteed issue rider on it. And the first one that came up, her husband called me. He said, "Can we get that?" Because they got a letter from the company, and he said, "Can we get that option?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I'll be right over." So I set up an appointment with him and wrote that option. But what had happened was she developed multiple sclerosis. She had MS, and she was not going to be able to get life insurance anyway else again. And these were young people, and I saw it work. So I thought, boy, what an important thing to be able to do for people. And the guaranteed issue rider, and we're going to talk about riders now. It's available on the LP 65 and the LP 90. The life paid up at 65 and the life paid up at 90. And when you talk about these coverages, a lot of people will buy a $25,000 policy. And I took a look at an age 0 male for $25,000, and the premium's $123.75. If you put the guaranteed issue rider on, it's another $15. I think my math is right, $138.75. But then I looked at $50,000, and there's a band break, what they call a band break, because it's a break because you're purchasing more life insurance. So it's kind of like a quantity discount. And for another 60 some odd dollars, you can get another $25,000 of life insurance. And you can still put that rider on, and that's another 15, but $204.50. So for not too much more money, you can get $50,000 instead of $25,000. And I'm going to show you some more numbers on that. This is what the illustration looks for the $25,000. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's $138.75. Then it drops down a little at age 40 because we're taking off that rider, guaranteed issue rider. Okay, and that's what it looks like on the $50,000. $204.50 until the time you get out here to age 40, and it's $189, age 41. So that's what it looks like on the illustration. And this is a closer picture of age 40 and 41. And that's when the rider comes off. But now I'm going to show you what the difference is in the cash values to these policies. So should you be selling 25s or should you be selling 50s? Age 40 cash value is $43.40, and the premiums paid in was $55.50. So you really haven't covered your premiums yet. You haven't broken even with the cash value. At $50,000, your cash value is $86.76, and your premiums paid is $81.80. So you have about doubled the difference in cash value to premiums paid between those two policies. At 65, the cash value in the 25 is $14,000. You paid $8,600. At 50,000, your cash value is $28,000, and it's more than twice as much. This is less than twice as much. But the difference here is 3 times as much. 3 times the 4,000 is about 12,000, and you've tripled the difference for them. So for $65.75 per year more in premium, you can have the additional 25,000 face amount. And at age 65, you get 3 times the cash value over the premiums paid instead of 2 times. So another thing that I like to show people, let me wet my whistle here a minute. When I look at the 50,000, and we talk a lot about conservation, and when people are looking to cash in their policies, what I like to do is I like to show them one premium to the next. And so here you are at the 40th year premium is $204.50. You're going to, the 41st is going to be $189.50. The cash value in the 40th year is $86.76, and the cash value in the 41st year is $91.42, and that's an increase of $466. So when you pay that premium of $204, the value of your policy is going to go up $466. And if your premium is $204 and your cash value increase is $466, why wouldn't you keep on paying premiums? I've had people ask me about that, and I tell them about the increase in cash value. I said, look, if you don't want this policy, I'll buy it for you. And frequently that changes their mind about what's going on. They still have dividends that they can that they can withdraw, and they have, if they need money, they can take out dividends or they can borrow against the policy. But that cash value still goes up when they pay the premium. So I think that's an important point, and it's important for us to know how to tell people that. And all you need to do is look at the illustration, and it'll give you those numbers. Okay, now we talked about the guaranteed insurability option rider, and this is what goes into the policy, and this shows what the benefits are. And the option amount is shown on the first page of the policy, the spec page, and our guaranteed issue rider provides for $25,000 at each option date. It'll be a new certificate at the age of the person when they take the option. The options start at age 25. They go every 3 years after that for 6 options: 28, age 31, 34, 37, and 40. So that's another $150,000 that a person can buy no matter what their health is. All they have to do is say they want it. There are alternative option dates. In the insured's marriage, giving birth, or the legal adoption of a child by the insured. So if you take one of these alternate option dates, you're taking the next option of your age. So there are a total of 6 options, period, even if you take an alternate option date. So within 60 days of the option date, all you need to do is let PNA know that you want it. And there is a cost to the rider, and we talked about that earlier. So why is it important to your child? There's a number of factors that can affect your children's future insurability. And, you know, there's all kinds of things going on right now, but one of the things, some of the kids develop high blood pressure, diabetes, you know, they don't do the physical education that they used to do. They don't, they're not out in the park playing. They're on their computers constantly, or on their phones. Cancer is another thing that is pervasive. And so those things can prevent your child from being insured down the road. And with a policy that guarantees they'll always be insured, they'll always have coverage regardless of what their health is. So that's what the guaranteed issue rider can do for your kids. Peace of mind. Parents do not ever plan to outlive their children. However, if the unthinkable happens, life insurance policy can cover the expenses. And things are chaotic enough when a family member dies. And to have to worry about money is not a good thing. life insurance for children can bring a peace of mind. Certain costs will be taken care of. And even more importantly, because the likelihood of the child dying is very, very low, the future insurability has been protected. And that's very, very important. So we also have the waiver of premium rider. And I talked about this when I did the Live, Die, Quit chart a couple of sessions ago. And again, that's in there on the website, but you can go back and take a look at that. When we talk about disability, if a person gets disability, has a life insurance policy with PNA, they pay the next 6 months worth of premiums. And if they're still disabled at the end of that 6 months, we will refund the premiums that they paid back to the initial date of disability, and then start waiving the premiums from that point on until they're no longer disabled. And what that means is total disability is being prevented from engaging in any occupation for remuneration or profit by reason of bodily injury or disease, or the loss of sight or limbs. When we talk about any occupation, you need to know that during the first 24 months of any continuous disability, the insured's regular option is what they're referring to. After that, after the first 24 months, after 2 years, and they're still disabled, any occupation for which the insured is reasonably qualified by education, training, or experience. So you might have a surgeon who gets disabled. They hurt one of their hands and can't do surgery anymore, and they can still teach. Well, they would be considered total disability through the first 2 years, and then after that, if they can teach, they're no longer disabled because they have a job that they are reasonably qualified for by education, training, or experience. So the thing about it is we don't expect a surgeon to have to do something that they're not qualified for by education. So they wouldn't require him to sweep floors or drive a bus or something like that. So it's education, training, or experience after the first 2 years. Loss of sight or limbs. I always love this one because it's so morose. Sight in both eyes, use of both hands, use of both feet, or use of one hand and one foot. And stuff like that happens. I was with an insurance company for a while that did a lot of, they insured a lot of farmers. And the farmers are continuously losing digits and limbs and that type of thing because of the equipment they have to have. So anyway, it's good to know the limitations on this. Benefit will not be payable if the insured's total disability resulted from intentional self-inflicted injury, committing or attempting to commit a felony. So don't get shot while robbing a bank. And actually I had somebody ask me that one time. The questions people asked. Okay, writing in or descent from, that would be parachuting, I think. Any kind of aircraft if the insured has any duties aboard such aircraft or is in training for such duties. Okay, war, whether declared or undeclared. So those are the limitations on a waiver premium rider. Now, again, I had been selling insurance for 5 years and I had 5 people who were on disability, none of whom were ever over the age of 45. And actually, there was one was a child, and the thing there was the child could not go to school, so that triggered the waiver of premium. So disability, this is like a disability coverage for the premium on your life insurance policy, and disability is certainly more likely to occur than death. So. We have the accidental death benefit rider, which pays double indemnity and pays double the face amount in case there's an accidental death. Now, the death of the insured has to have resulted directly or independently of all other causes from accidental bodily injury. The death occurs within 90 days. So if a person is in an accident and it looks like they're going to die, they have to die within 90 days. And I don't know how you tell them that or how you make sure that gets done, but it does have to be within 90 days. I'm being facetious there, but you don't want them malingering. Okay. And the death occurred prior to the termination of the rider. Okay. We further agree, this is kind of interesting. I didn't know this until I was doing the research. We further agree that if the accidental death benefit has become payable, we will pay double the accidental death benefit amount if the injury was received while boarding, traveling in, or descending from any public passenger conveyance. So that's something that you pay to ride on and is regulated by a governmental body, like the city or the, I don't know, the federal would be Amtrak or something. But anyway, I'm sorry. The accidental death benefit amount will be considered a part of the death proceeds and is payable in the same manner. So it also, and again, one of the beauties of the life insurance policy is that death benefit is income tax free. And this would also be income tax free. Okay, again, the limitations: self-inflicted injury or a suit fine, committing or attempting to commit a felony. This one is interesting: voluntary taking of poison, drugs, or sedatives unless prescribed by a physician as medication. And I read that and I said, when would a physician prescribe as medication poison? So I think I would change the wording on that a little bit, but anyhow, the next thing, again, riding or descending any kind of aircraft if the insured has any duties aboard the aircraft or is in training, in war, whether declared or undeclared. So that's the accidental death benefit rider. And, you know, again, it pays double the amount of the coverage, but one of the things that I used to talk to people about is instead of the accidental death benefit, and there is a cost to it. I say, let's add a few dollars to that cost and buy a separate term insurance policy. So if you've got $50,000 of life insurance, buy a $50,000 term, and the $50,000 term will pay whether you're in an accident or not. The other thing is you have a conversion privilege with the term. So you could convert it to a whole life if you wanted to at some point in time. And then they have 100,000 of whole life coverage rather than just the 50. And again, the guaranteed issue rider is another way of doing it. But I've also talked to people about, instead of doing the $150,000 guaranteed issue rider, take $150,000 a term. So then you have the coverage right away, and you can convert some of it as you go along. You can convert 25 every 3 years if you want to. I think that there's different ways of using term insurance, you know, we've talked about the blended solution, selling a whole life plus a term insurance policy, and blending the two types of coverage is often a good strategy for people. Okay, we also have an acceleration of death benefit rider. And what that means is if a person has been diagnosed with an illness and has a life expectancy of 12 months or less, they can access the death benefit on their life insurance policy up to 100,000.
Oh, yeah, 100,000.
Up to 100,000, 50% up to $100,000. So if they have a $200,000 life insurance policy, they can take out $100,000. And I think that's available on the LP 90, 20K, and the LP 65.
Because acceleration is on $10,000 or more.
Yeah, $10,000. Okay. What I have up on the screen here is the form that needs to be filled out for that to be added when you do the application. And that needs to be put on initially with the application. Okay. And there's no cost to that. There's no additional cost. So you may as well put it on every time you write an application. Okay. And finally, we have a children's term insurance rider. In the children's term insurance rider, the insured would be the parent, but they put their kids on for $5,000 of coverage. Each child that they currently have, each one that they're going to have or legally adopt would be covered up to their 25th birthday for $5,000 of life insurance. The life insurance, $5,000 isn't a lot, but there's a single premium for this, right? It's like,
Yeah, the term to age 25.
Yes. So it's convertible also to up to 5 times the amount of the $5,000. So they would be able to be aged before age 25, convert to 25,000 of whole life. But insured child includes any child born to or legally adopted by the insured. However, none of the following will be considered an insured child. Child less than 21 days old. So the child up to 3 weeks old is not covered under that rider, even though they have it on their policy. After that, they're covered. A child who is 18 years or older on the certificate date. In other words, when you took the policy out, if you have a 19-year-old kid, that child is not going to be covered. You have to do it a different way. A child who is 18 years or older on the date of legal adoption. A married child, the child on or after the certificate anniversary following the 25th birthday of that child. So they come off at age 25, or they actually come off at the policy anniversary following age 25. So it's not on age 25. And a child who had insurance benefits converted under the privilege law. In other words, once you do this for a child, they can't do it again. Okay. And like I said, there is, the beneficiary is going to be the insured. So that would be the parent, if living, and then it would be the spouse of the insured. So there's a conversion privilege. I mentioned that. And it's 5 times, be up to 5 times the benefit provided by the rider. And the certificate date will be the date of conversion. So whatever age the child is at that point in time, that's age on the conversion. So, another thing I wanted to show you. At the end of June, I did kind of actually it was July, I did a little survey of insurance that we've sold the first 6 months. And I looked at the product line, number of applications, the total face amount, average face amount, and the average age. And the 10-year term, we did 13 policies. The 20-year term, we did 23. So the 20-year term was it was more favorable than the 10-year term. And there's reasons for that. If you take a look at the average face amount, with people buying 20-year term were buying a lot more insurance than the people for the 10-year, and they were younger. They were average age was 43, and the average age for the 10-year was 51. Part of that has to do with when the insurance is available also.
And also, if you take a look, like 20 pay life and single premium, those are that people really like and really enjoy, right?
Yeah, those are the big sellers. The 20 pay life, again, the average age was 37. A lot of people do the 20 pay life for their kids, but there was 4 million of face amount that we sold on that, and the average size policy is 29,000. Going down to the single premium, we sold 119 of those, and average face amount was 18,000, and that's because it's a single premium. But the average face amount, the average age was 13. And what I saw was a lot of age 0. So what I figure that is that was the grandparents buying a life insurance policy for newborn grandchildren, and that's a good thing to do. But we also need to think a little bit bigger in terms of face amount, because the one thing insurance needs to be is relevant, and it needs to be relevant to the situation of the insured. So, and when you buy a single premium whole life on a person who is 0 years old, you have no idea what they're gonna encounter later on in life. So, but I kind of thought that was interesting to take a look at and show you what we're selling and what people are most interested in. Okay, so again, we're going to be talking about single premium as we go through the end of the year. And we're going to be talking about it, first of all, we're going to be talking as a wealth transfer type of situation with adults. And then we're going to move into buying insurance on kids as we get closer to Christmas holidays. But let PNA help you make a meaningful gift through legacy planning with a single premium whole life policy. And when you talk about legacy planning, and I don't care what you call it, it's leaving money to people. And you're leaving a legacy. You're leaving something for those people to remember you by. And life insurance is a nice way to be able to do that. But what I took a look at was a female age 67, and that person could make a premium payment of $30,000. Now that may be a CD that they have that's sitting there and needs to be renewed, or a couple of CDs. It could be that they sold some property and they have some money and they need to do something with the money. But I look at that, and this lady is 67. She has 3 adult kids, and she's got this $30,000, and she's going to leave them $10,000 each. Well, if she took that $30,000 and purchased a single payment policy, single premium life, she would generate a death benefit of $64,611. And she could leave her children $20,000 instead of $10,000 and still have some left over. Or she could still leave them the $10,000 and give the other $30,000 to her favorite charity. It could be St. Vincent de Paul, or it could be the church, or it could be alma mater.
Dog shelter.
Huh?
Dog shelter.
A dog shelter, yeah. PNA has a foundation. I believe the foundation could be a beneficiary.
That's true.
But the point is that you take the $30,000 and you leverage it into something bigger and better. And she does not lose control of that $30,000. And that's one of her big issues. She's going to give the $30,000 upon her death, but she has that money and she has control of it. If she needs it, she could use it. And but if she puts it into a life insurance policy, she still has control of it. She can make loans against the policy, or she can lower the policy face amount and take the cash value out. But there's cash value that's available to her, and I think it takes 4 years for the cash value to equal the initial premium. So she's out a little bit of money initially because there's a death benefit involved, but that catches up fairly quickly, and the cash value continues to increase over a period of time. So single premium is a very, very nice way of taking dollars that people have and making more out of them, and giving, and they still control the money. Here, this is just a statement. Many people have used a single premium whole life to transfer larger sums of money to their heirs, taking advantage of current tax laws to make the strategy even more effective. The person retains control of the cash value because they're the owner of the policy. The death benefit is income tax free. So when that money comes to the beneficiary, they don't have to pay income tax on it. So it makes it more valuable to them. but you have to be careful to make sure that there's a named beneficiary. It could be a personal beneficiary, a person, or it could be a trust. And it also avoids probate because you're naming a beneficiary, and it avoids creditors. So creditors can't get to that money if there's a named beneficiary. So it's really a win-win-win situation all the way around. So I think it's important, and I tell you what, when I was a new agent, my manager drilled into my brain. He said, "Be opinionated. Have an opinion about what you're doing." And I think we are all in a noble profession. The life insurance business is a noble profession. We do really good things for people. We help them when they need it the most. Be opinionated about that. Believe in what your product can do. We just went through what the writers can do. And they all do good things for people. It helps when people need help. The last thing, there's STP. There's an oil called STP for your car, but that's not what I'm talking about. It is see the people. The more people we talk to, easy conversation. Have you ever heard of the rule of 36? No, what's that? And it's a nice entree into talking about what you do in terms of helping people with their life insurance. And they need help. The guy said, "I wish my agent would be more aggressive with me." You don't have to be aggressive, but you need to let people know that you can do things for them that nobody else can, because we're an insurance company. So, okay. Thanks so much for being with us. Know that the best is yet to come. Although sometimes it gets a little gloomy, the best is yet to come. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. You do have to unmute yourself to ask a question.
I know that I had a question in a group in the morning. You know, when we have the you have less than 12 months to live, and if I decide to take part of the money, you know, to use it for my medical expenses, if I have to pay taxes on that, and Tom had said that
It's not a taxable event. It's like getting the life insurance dollars upon your death. And so it's not a taxable event. The other thing is that if you have a $50,000 policy and you take $20,000 out for medical expenses, the remainder $30,000 is still a death benefit to your beneficiary.
right.
So, any other questions?
Let's go back to, we'll stop sharing. See you guys. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Be well, do good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And enjoy this beautiful Thursday if you're in Chicago. I don't know, Sandy, how is the North Dakota and Don, Pennsylvania, but the rest of us are here in Chicago. It's nice outside.
Yes, it is. I'm going to go golfing now.
Woohoo!
But yeah.
Woohoo! All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful evening and take care.
God bless.
Bye. Bye-bye.